Another week has come and gone, bringing us to yet another Thursday. And you know what that means. It's time for this week's issue of the Bungie Weekly Blog, This Week at Bungie, for the week of January 27th, 2022. This time around, we've got a lot of quality of life changes, plus some changes coming to strikes and some of the core vendors in the game. Well, at least some of the activities tied to those vendors. There's going to be some big ritual changes coming when the Witch Queen drops next month, so let's go ahead and dive into all the things we're going to learn about. We'll start things out with incoming ritual changes. Here's what Bungie had to say. Looking at the data for Season 15, Guardians were approaching the new Vanguard ranks differently than what their models initially assumed. According to their findings, players were running more Vanguard strikes than anticipated and were optimizing for the new activity streak at a lower rate as well. We used the data from the Season of the Lost to adjust the model to be more accurate with actual behavior, and then retuned everything to bring the average gain more in line with Crucible. For Season 16, expect increased Vanguard reputation on completion, activity streak amounts, Nightfall multipliers, and Nightfall completion quality bonuses. Vanguard reputation gain should be approximately twice as fast for most players, with the ability to optimize even faster by playing higher difficulty Nightfalls and utilizing the activity streak more. Similarly, Trials of Osiris was about 30% slower than anticipated while not having an accelerated gain when higher ranks were achieved. We also felt like we were not valuing winning rounds enough, especially players getting to 20 round wins and at a 7-win ticket. So, we have added a small amount of Trials reputation at match end for every round won in that match, which increases based on how many ticket wins a player has. At the top end, each round won will award 21 reputation, up to 105 extra reputation a match. This ideally speeds up Trials reputation gain by 50% or more for players who do not regularly reset their ticket in an attempt to go flawless. And while we were not able to give an accelerated reputation gain for higher ranks in the Witch Queen for technical reasons, look for more news on that sometime later in the year. Also, here's a quick preview of a returning Trials reward for next season. There's another weapon in the pipe, but we'll leave that for you to discover when Trials returns in the Witch Queen. And then of course the weapon there is the Summoner, which I'm sure is going to make more than a few of you happy. Overall, I like these changes. I love that they're going to be bumping up the reputation gain for strikes. Sometimes it does feel like you rank up your reputation with the Vanguard a little on the slow side, unless you're absolutely maxing out your streak bonuses and your bounties and all of that kind of stuff. So giving people more reputation for just playing the activity to bring it more in line with the reputation you get from Crucible, I'm all okay with that. And I'm definitely on board with the Trials of Osiris changes there. It's another incentive for people who have already gone flawless to continue playing after that point. Definitely good stuff, but there's even more to talk about here. So, what about the things that Bungie's not going to be changing yet? Well, they're happy with the speed of Crucible reputation gain, though they may look at this again alongside Iron Banner vendor changes in the future. Gambit reputation gain was about 30% slower than they desired, but with the Gambit revamp coming in the Witch Queen, they would like a full season to analyze playstyles and patterns before making any big changes there. And of course, we'll be getting more details on that in a future TWAB. They go on to state that they're also not currently making any changes to the activity streak system or the placement of the ritual weapon ornaments. They've heard your feedback on it and don't believe it is currently meeting their design goals. It is intended to feel like a nice bonus for dedicated players, but rarely feel critical. Right now, it can sometimes feel too punishing to leave a ritual playlist. But this is being partially driven by Gambit and Vanguard reputations moving slower than intended, combined with the ritual ornaments being on the second reset. We want to see how the tweaks to Vanguard reputation changes playstyle and hourly gain before they make any other changes across the board. And lastly, they know how annoying it is to not remember which reputation bonus is active by Thursday or Friday. So starting in the Witch Queen, when double ranks or rewards are active, those activities will have a modifier on the launch screen to remind you. Big things really do come in small packages. And like I said, that's a list of pretty fantastic changes. Anything that's going to help you rank up some of those other playlists a little bit faster, definitely okay in my book. But it's not the only Vanguard changes we've got coming down the pipeline. Because in a bit of a surprise move, in my opinion, we're going to be getting some new Battlegrounds activities in the future. That's right, the Season 13 Battlegrounds activities have already been added to the Vanguard Strikes playlist, and this playlist will be renamed Vanguard Ops. And as a reminder, there are going to be 4 new Battlegrounds coming with the new season. Here's what they are: Behemoth and Oracle on Nessus, Hailstone for Europa, and Foothold in the Cosmodrome. The actual Battlegrounds activities are the direct launch, no champion version of the Battleground, as these match the length and difficulty of most of the strikes in the playlist. And any bounties, quests, triumphs, or challenges used to reference strikes now reference Vanguard operations instead, so you'll be able to get those strike bounties done in the Battlegrounds game mode as well. After that, we've got some Nightfall changes to talk about. We have been slowly iterating on the pressures and challenges we apply at each of the Nightfall difficulty ranks. One big outlier was the strike-specific modifiers with damage boosts and other effects that enhanced boss attacks. While some of them were cool and fun, they were generally inconsistent and were pushing tactical play more than the intended build crafting. So we've removed these from Nightfall starting at Hero. We also added a new style of burn called Acute, which will increase player damage taken from a specific element by 50% and increase player damage done by 25%. Most Nightfalls already had a 25% damage received modifier, so this will be an across-the-board increase of 25% in both directions for that element, which on one hand sounds really cool. Listen, you guys have heard me say it a million times. Bungie had a pretty well-running system of modifiers in Destiny 1. We had burns and they were great. We had small arms. It was great. A lot of those more positive modifiers have disappeared in the move to Destiny 2. I still say just bring some of those back. You want to make it burn so that we're taking more arc damage and dealing more arc damage? I'd be okay with that. And I kind of like that we're moving in sort of that direction here with Acute. What I don't like is that it's an additional 25% incoming damage, which is going to make wire rifles and sniper shanks, well, more terrifying than they already are on higher end Nightfalls. It's going to be interesting to deal with. Anyways, Bungie went on to say, secondly, we're moving the seasonal strike modifiers that we introduced in Season 15 from the Vanguard playlist over to Nightfalls. These are unique buffs and boosts that aid you if you lean into the combat themes of the season. For Season 16, they are themed to Glaive and Void usage. These rotate weekly and appear on all Hero, Legend, and Master Nightfalls. We look forward to your feedback on these as we continue to iterate. Oh, and here's a quick preview of some sweet loot that you'll be able to earn from Nightfalls next season. And if they look familiar to you, that's because it's the classic strike-specific loot from D2, Duty Bound, the auto rifle, and the Silicon Neuroma sniper rifle. Some fan favorites from, I think, year 1 of Destiny 2. Interesting stuff there. But finishing this section up, Bungie ends it by saying that we've been iterating on how we communicate the shields present in a strike, if match game is on. Like the Legend and Master Law sectors, all Nightfall activities now have a modifier that lists the shields used. Alright, speaking of Lost Sectors, we got some news on that too. When they introduced Legend and Master Lost Sectors in Beyond Light, they were forced to split the daily Legend and Master Lost Sector locations since there was no way to select difficulty within the public bubble. Thanks to some fresh technology built for the upcoming Witch Queen campaign, this limitation is now removed. There is now a single daily Lost Sector, which has both Legend and Master difficulties available at the same time, selectable at the entrance. Both difficulties will give the same exotic reward. Great quality of life change in terms of the Lost Sector grind there, but I still want to see some kind of reward increase for running the Master over the Legend. There's really no reason to run the harder difficulty there when you can still just get the same exotic by running Legend. Doesn't mean I want them to take the rewards away from Legend, it just means I kind of want them to bump up the rewards for some of the other game modes. Maybe add in some upgrade mats at a higher frequency with a higher amount given per run. Something like that. Alright, and beyond that, the last big thing I wanted to cover in this week's TWAB is the fact that if you're playing Destiny 2 on PC, your game is probably going to start looking a little bit better, as the game now supports Windows 10 and up based windowed HDR. That's right, as a part of the hotfix that went live earlier this week, Bungie has pushed through some new updates to their high dynamic range implementation. In particular, you can use it in windowed mode, and as a result of some of these changes, windowed full screen mode should now provide the same or better performance compared to the exclusive full screen mode. This likely doesn't mean a lot to you console players out there, but if you're somebody who plays Destiny 2 on PC, these performance benefits can really be noticeable. And so I'm really happy that Bungie pushed that through. There's a couple of other quality of life changes there too. And of course, if you'd like to read all of them, I'll leave a link to the TWAB down in the description box below. But that's pretty much it for the biggest bits of news in today's issue of the Bungie Weekly Blog, This Week at Bungie. A lot more quality of life changes that are going to be coming alongside the Witch Queen, and I'm really excited about a lot of them. But anyways, that's the news. Those are my thoughts. Be sure to leave me yours down in the comment section below. How do you feel about all of these changes? Are you happy about the bonus Vanguard reputation you'll be getting for running strikes? What about that new acute modifier? How do you guys feel about taking even more damage in PvE, but also dishing out a little bit more as well? Be sure to let me know. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like, make sure you subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date with all the latest stuff we're putting out. But I'm out for now. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I'm Black Link. You Guardians, stay frosty.